Good morning. Hello, I'm Robert Radford, and in this series of 50 Years in Chess, I want to bring a game to you that was played in the 2003-4 Bristol League Congress Major Section, and I was playing against a young man named Matthew Tillett, who I think was a university student at the Bristol University at this time. I know he went back. I think he went to London, or went back to London, where I think he came from, and played some chess there. I know he's still playing, even now. I looked up this morning. I noticed that he's got a rating of about 1950, so he's useful. And I think he's just won a major up there, Christmas major. So yeah, he's a good player, and he was okay in this game too. So let's have a look then. I started with e4 with the white pieces. Matthew played c5, f4, and immediately threw in d5. Don't see this very often, and it was an interesting move. So I played bishop b5 check. He interposed with the bishop, and we swapped off, and he retook with the queen. Then I took that pawn, and he took queen f3. Now, I would say either go back to d7 or play knight f6 here, so that you're developing it and defending at the same time, but he chose to take and allowed me to develop my knight. So he played knight c6, and I played b3. He's sooner or later, I think he's going to go for a queenside castle, long castle. Yeah. Any second now. Bishop, but I took his knight when it came out and doubled up his pawn. So I messed up his structure on the king side, and I have we're about equal according to Stockfish here. I played knight f3. He castled and I castled. So that's all the ceremonies out the way of the opening and whatever. So we have he has the bishop, but it's not a great bishop, as I'll show you. I played b3 there when he attacked the pawn. He played b6, sorry, and then I played rook e1. I don't know why he went back bishop to. Don't know why he went back to bishop b7 so soon, but anyway, he did. I played knight h5. Now this is where I'm going to try and make his life difficult over on the queen side. This is my plan of attack. He should, I suppose, play c5 so that he's got an open diagonal, but he doesn't. He went back knight e7. I think that was wrong, because now when I play c5, if he goes knight takes, pawn takes, that's terrible for him to have triple pawns all on the same file. So he takes pawn would lead to rook takes knight, so it was not a good move. He's suddenly found himself with a problem here. So he pushed on with the e pawn, and then I occupied the d4 square, which is excellent, because now I put pressure on that f6 pawn, which he has to defend, and the only way he can defend it at the moment is with his bishop. So the bishop is acting like a pawn. That's wonderful. He played h5, and I brought across the rook from h1 to f1, so as I'm able to move my knight on h4 away and still have the pawn cover it. He played knight into d5. I went king g2, king b2 here, mainly because I want to get away from that pawn on d2, because if I move it, he can check me on h6, and I just don't want that at the moment. So he's played rook d7, a3 just to prevent the knight from going into b4. He's done up his rooks, so that's where he intends to make a go of it. And I brought my knight back to g2, as it's not doing anything out there anymore. It's not needed there, and I did say I would bring it back. So he played king g7. I played rook f3. And now he's gone back over to the queen side with his rook to try and maybe push it, or play to rook h6 to help defend that pawn and free his bishop. I'm not sure. So I went rook d3, pinning the knight to the rook, and he's just moved his king up to cover that. So I played c4, which now guarantees I can swap the rooks off. He's hitting my pawn on f5, so I played rook takes, king takes, and then rook covering that pawn, so he can't take it. He's gone back with his king. I move e3. This is excellent because it defends the pawn, it releases the rook, and it also allows me to be able to have some control in the central areas. He's played a6, king c3. He's advancing up my queen side now with his b5 pawn. I play g3, pawn takes pawn, rook d8. Interesting. He can occupy that square on e4 and attack my knight. So I play d3, so that would be a waste of time. Now he's played bishop h6, and I'm with my knight to c2, covering that important d4 square so that he can't occupy it. But the knight is a little bit more active there, but his f6 pawn is unprotected. So he's prepared to let that go. If I take, he would take my b3 pawn. Very interesting. So I protect it with my rook. Then he's gone back with the bishop. Now this is strange. I don't really understand why Matthew did this. I think he should have gone back to maybe f8, and then been able to. No, he couldn't go f8 because the knight takes pawn. Yeah, it's difficult for him. Yeah, that's right. He couldn't go back to f8. His pawn's under attack. So I've got him tied up a bit here. He's in a bit of a mess. So it also allowed me to push my pawns on the king side, and this is good because now I've got a good situation. He's got the open file, but there's nothing there for him. So when I push again, the threat is pawn takes pawn, pinning the knight and bishop. But he's overlooked something here because he went pawn takes pawn, but I just play this f pawn and I pin his knight and bishop. And at this point, Matthew resigned. So, an interesting game. It was a lot going on there. It was more about jogging for position and trying to get the best positions for us. But it's just one of those games where you have to be patient, and just as the board is changing in front of you, you have to try and counteract each other's moves and things, and it is quite strategic in many ways. But that was a sad ending, really, because he's got himself in a bit of a mess on the queen side, and if he would have sorted that out, it would have been a far more even game. So that's it. See you tomorrow or the next time.